about the racism, which means that you're leading with your bigotry, your agenda. But keep saying to me, because you're white, I'm going to say to you, you're saying what you're saying because I'm black. Race baiter.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Julian Discourse. Have you ever noticed how the left's demand for endless apologies always ends up with them demanding endless amounts of other people's cash? In this explosive TalkTV interview, watch Julia Hartley-Brewer completely detonate a woke activist's argument over a staggering $1 billion reparations demand from the Church of England. When forced to explain why modern citizens should pay for the sins of the 1700s, the activist totally panics and immediately pulls the race card. Hit subscribe and let's watch the establishment narrative collapse in real time.
Why should the Church of England pay out £1 billion in slavery reparations? It was originally going to be 100 million. They decided that wasn't enough. Why should they pay out reparations for something that's happened hundreds of years ago?
Well, the Church of England have actually officially decided that they're only paying 100 million, and they're actually hoping that wealthy, empathetic, logical, pragmatic donors will add that up to 1 billion. So it's not the Church of England that's paying 1 billion. No, not of course.
Well, it's via the Church of England. They're asking for donations, aren't they?
Yeah, so can I just finish? Sorry, can I just finish, please? So 100 million from the Church of England. The reason why they're doing this is because they invested into the South Sea Company during the early 1700s, and they invested 700 million. They ended up making 443 million. So they never said sorry. They never paid back or kind of repaired that damage, which is what ultimately they're leading with. And so now they're donating or using their endowment fund and whatever else they can combine in terms of righting those wrongs and repairing that damage.
Okay,
so it's 100 million, not 1 billion, 100 million.
No, what 1 billion is they're planning to do that. Okay, we've only got another 6 minutes.
No, they're not. No, they're not.
We've only got another 6. All right, we'll stick with your figure if that makes you happy. But we've only got another 6 minutes. So if you want to spend the entire time arguing over that, then we won't get to the point of the conversation.
But it's important. It's important.
Well, I'm reporting what's actually reported today. But let's just get sidetracked, shall we?
But it's important, and it was recent. It was, when was it? Last night? I think I watched it last night. So it's recent. But yeah, please continue. Please.
Can I carry on? Right. Okay. So, Iman, who would they pay this money to, and why should there be any reparations to people who live? Now, you can't pay any reparations to anyone who is a direct victim of slavery from the Atlantic slave trade because they will have died many, many years ago. There are many descendants of, but descendant of slave trade is not necessarily been a victim of the slave trade. Now, we know in America there are long-standing issues in terms of civil rights until, certainly in my lifetime. That's not been the case here in the UK. Who would they pay reparations to, and why would those people be deserving?
Okay, so just quick 2 points. In terms of America, you're actually referencing overt racism versus covert. So they are very much delving into a lot of overt racism. Here, we've got quite a lot of overt racism, but predominantly covert. So that's the first point in terms of America. In terms of why the church is doing this, it's about legacy. So as much as they're actually really beneficial in actually a vital role in abolishing the slave trade. That's a lot of people don't really realize that. So 200 years ago, their wokeness started, all of that wokeness started, and they've continued it with race action plans and with trying to right the wrongs. And so in terms of why they are doing this, it's because, one, they have an agenda in terms of their race action plans, that continuation of, when they helped with equality, they're just continuing with that. So one of their agendas right now is 2 things. It's just a logical thing, right? Fair and equitable society. So therefore they want to make sure that they are leading and influencing the way, but that's due to the fact that they know that they use the Bible to justify, pacify and subjugate Black people. So they know that they did that. So what they want to do right now is right those wrongs and see if they can find a way to deal with the low participation rates.
But who do they pay that to? I mean, you say...
I will answer that question. Iman, No problem. So what they're trying to do is deal with low participation rates. They're trying to deal with ignorance, all of which deals with the legacy. Because you asked me why we are having to do this because it was in the past. So it's all well and good that they helped with the slave trade. It's all well and good that we ended the slave trade. But the reality is the legacy of the slave trade, the legacy of the transatlantic slave trade being racism still exists. So what they want to do is try to combat that ignorance, because that's something that they never dealt with, and they never really said sorry.
Okay,
and they invested a lot of money and made a lot of money. So that's why they're doing it. And who they are doing it for, let me answer your question directly, please. I do apologise. I just want to actually answer your question.
Okay, but we're very short on time. I'm not trying to talk over you,
I appreciate that.
You're talking for a long time.
So no problem. So I apologise. So who are they going to pay it for, or who are they going to pay it to? The reality is reparations doesn't always have to be in the form of money. So what they're going to do is invest it in business-led kind of programs and initiatives. So anyone that wants to build a business that is ambitious, pragmatic, etc., they're going to promote it and kind of target that area. They're also going to lead with education, employment, and they're also going to lead with health. So these are really.
But hold on a minute. I'm so sorry. These things are happening already. Why should we be giving priority to a black person setting up a business in this country over a white person? What about a black person who has brought up in a nice middle-class family, gone to university, done fine, nicely, thank you, and a white person who's living on a sink estate, who hasn't had any of those opportunities, and you're saying, oh, well, the black person should benefit from the church reparations because of something that happened to long-distant dead relatives. That's not fair. That's not really tackling inequality today, is it?
No, what you fail to realise, and I appreciate that, but what you fail to realise is that the Church of England didn't use the Bible to justify, subjugate, and pacify that white person in order to
pacify. They thought they were spreading the gospel. I'm no defender of the Bible teachings.
Them in order to promote
I'm an atheist. However, when am I?
Let me finish.
Sorry, Iman, sorry.
You said we were running out of time.
I am, but genuinely, you never finish, so I have to interrupt because you never finish. When am I going to get my reparations? I'm a white woman. I'm the child of Irish immigrants and British people. When do I get my reparations from the Roman Empire? When do I get them from the Vikings?
You're forgetting about the racism, which means that you're leading with your bigotry, your agenda, whether that be your personal agenda or journalistic. It could be journalistic. We know these
probably because I'm white.
GB News, no,
it's probably because I'm white.
And
just talked about my bigotry.
And right-wing agendas that seem to be bigoted.
You just talked about bigotry. You just accused somebody who's asking you questions of bigotry.
No, because you wouldn't say this to a Jew. You wouldn't say this to a Jew, Julia.
Carry on.
You wouldn't talk about the Jews in terms of the Holocaust. You wouldn't talk about the Jews in terms of anti-Semitism. You wouldn't say to the Jews, well, you need to get over it. It was in the past. And you shouldn't talk about the fact that anti-Semitism has risen in the last, I don't know, a few months since all of those issues around the world. You wouldn't say that to Jews, but you're saying it to me because I'm black. So isn't that interesting? You keep saying to me, because you're white, I'm going to say to you, you're saying what you're saying because I'm black. Race baiter. Thank you very much.
I've got someone shouting in my ear telling me I've got to go down, but I'm letting you carry on.
That you keep
digging yourself deeper in, love.
No, I'm very glad I got my time.
Okay, and now I'm afraid I am out of time, but you did a great job making your arguments. Well done. Iman.
What you just witnessed on TalkTV is the exact moment the progressive establishment's historical guilt complex collided with everyday reality. When Julia Hartley-Brewer confronted this activist over the Church of England's disastrous reparations agenda, she exposed the ultimate hypocrisy of modern identity politics. Let's look at the undeniable facts. In March 2024, a Church of England oversight group officially demanded that the church expand its slavery reparations fund from an already staggering $100 million to a completely absurd $1 billion target. This astronomical sum is supposedly meant to atone for investments made by a fund called Queen Anne's Bounty into the South Sea Company way back in the early 1700s. Think about how completely insulting this is to the modern British public. Right now, the UK is navigating a brutal cost of living crisis. As Julia brilliantly pointed out, there are countless working-class families living on forgotten sink estates across the country who are currently struggling to pay for their basic groceries and heating bills. The establishment elite, sitting comfortably in their insulated wealth, do not care about the present suffering of everyday Britons. They only care about laundering their own historical guilt through massive, unconditional payouts to select activist-approved groups. And notice what happened the exact second Iman Ayton was forced to justify how punishing modern citizens for 300-year-old sins is actually fair. Her entire argument instantly collapsed. She had no facts, no logic, and no rational defense. So what did she do? She panicked, completely lost her temper, and desperately accused a seasoned journalist of being a bigoted race baiter. This is the exact playbook of the radical left. When they cannot win the debate on the facts, they attempt to bully you into submission by branding you a racist. They demand your endless apologies and your institutional cash, but what they truly despise is your pushback. Thank you for watching Julian Discourse. If you refuse to let woke activists hold your country hostage over 300-year-old grievances, hit that subscribe button, leave a like, and I'll see you next time.